welcome to Dog on the Plot. Happy Saturday. This is Saturday afternoon and I hope you've been well. I hope you've been keeping warm because it got super cold this week. We got down to almost -8 in the greenhouse, and I don't think there's much difference between in the greenhouse and out of it, to be honest. If anything, the greenhouse isn't really providing that much warmth at this time of the year, but it is protecting against the elements. But yeah, things got cold, so I did fleece everything in here, and we'll have a little look at how things fared in a moment. What's happening now is the temperature has risen, but we're due yet another storm. So is it Storm Aisha that's coming along now? And we're due 50 to 60 mile per hour winds in the Midlands. I mean, we've had some strong winds already and everything, touch wood. You should think there'd be more wood in my greenhouse. There we go, touch wood. It's been okay so far. I'm a bit worried about this fence between me and my neighbour. We'll see if that withstands these winds. Yeah, so it's like we can't catch a break, really. One extreme set of weather circumstances quickly gets replaced just with another extreme set. And I've sort of keep feeling like, oh, at some point the ground is going to be soft enough, or you know, it's not going to stop raining and the flooding will have gone down and I can actually do something on the plot, but that time has not yet come. Now I have still been visiting the plot, mostly just to collect kale and drop off rabbit poop. They seem to be my main jobs, and just generally kind of looking about at the plot and thinking about the plot. The other thing I've been doing when I've been going down there is checking on my one fruiting brassica. Do you call it fruiting? I've got a Romanesco. So those two plants that we thought were purple sprouting broccoli, no, unfortunately, I kind of feel unfortunately they are Romanesco, but that's good too. And one of them has a really nice looking head on it now, so I've been desperately trying to protect it by folding the leaves over. And I think most people like clip the leaves with a peg or something like that. Well, I didn't have one of those down the allotment, so I put a plant pot over the top, quite a roomy plant pot, so hopefully the head of the Romanesco can still grow inside it. But yeah, I keep going down and just taking a peek and seeing if it's okay. But in terms of actually doing any work down the allotment, I have done nothing. I've done nothing in the home garden either, and in fact I'm about to do a job. I am so behind on, perhaps to the point where I can't even do this job anymore. So we're going to do that in a moment. But I do feel slightly better about the fact that I'm doing nothing, because I watched Mayu's video at Spuds and Roses this week, and I've been chatting with her this week. You might have seen us on Danny's Heard It on the Grapevine live. So Danny now at Grow Up, and she was talking about, you know, that the garden should look messy at this time of year, and you shouldn't really be doing that much in the garden. Made me feel way better. Way better. Yes, Dory, it did. Yes.
You're not fussed, are you? No, you don't mind a messy garden, do you? No. Oh, aren't you a pretty dog? Aren't you a pretty dog?
Now, all of that is not to say that I haven't been planning what I want to do, and you saw last week I was just drawing my my plan for the allotment and the home garden, and oh gosh, I can't stop looking through my seeds and thinking about all the things I'm going to be growing this year. But I also did something practical, which was buy some decking boards. I just found them on Facebook Marketplace, and it was a £5 a board with free delivery, which I thought was fair. And there are 20 boards, and I'm going to hopefully construct some raised beds out of those for the allotment. And the more I've been thinking about the allotment, the more I've been thinking, like, I can't do the same thing on every bed, and it's not going to look beautifully uniform, which is okay. Allotments don't need to look like that. So some of the beds will stay as they are, as just sort of big wide beds where I can do things like potatoes potentially. We'll talk about potatoes at some point, but squash, sweet corn, that sort of thing. But then some of the other beds, which perhaps haven't been as productive and have the issue with the flooding, those I think it would be really beneficial to raise the soil level a little bit with compost, but because my beds are quite rounded at the edges, I don't want all that compost to just fall off the ends, plus I keep walking over them and compacting, so I think raised beds is the way to go in some parts of the allotment, so not the whole of the plot but in some parts. So I bought those decking boards to start thinking about that and start working on it. I probably need to ask Mark for a bit of help. He's got a good like electric saw things, because some of them will have to be sawn in half, and then I'll have beds that are either 1 meter squares or 2 meter by 1 meter. So I've just got to think about where they will fit in the existing beds that are on the plot, and then between the raised beds I want to either wood chip, or I do know somebody who's got some turf that they're looking to get rid of, so I could potentially make some more grass paths between them. And although part of me feels like, oh, that's, you know, giving up growing space, you could be having crops in there, at the same time you do need to move between your crops, and the way I've been doing that the past year is basically just walking all over the beds, and that is not, as we know, a good thing to be doing, even when you're doing no dig. I think if you're doing no dig on clay soil in the way that I am, then yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Now, of course, I'm saying these things and some of you will be thinking, well, Kerry, you got a greenhouse like 10 months ago and it's still sitting behind your shed. If you can't put that up, how are you going to be making these raised beds and all this kind of stuff? And to which I would reply, valid point. And basically, I just need to be a little bit more structure focused this year, I think. Last year, you know, in part, I was doing the permaculture thing, which is that you observe your space for a year. And I did observe it while filling it full of stuff, but structurally I didn't really change anything on the site. All the beds were the same as when I first got the plot, so I kind of know what the beds are like now, and I've got that better knowledge that then I'm saying this, I don't know if I'm going to implement that knowledge in any way, because I tend to just think, oh, I'll just do that and beds appear. Anyway, I'm rambling. It's quite cold out here. So let's have a quick look at the greenhouse and then we're going to go inside to do that job. So this is the messy greenhouse, and you'll see I've now removed all the fleece from everything now that things have warmed up. I suppose the first thing to look at might be the salad bar bed, which when I peeked under the fleece yesterday looked very sorry for itself, but everything has bounced back. Even the lettuce is looking fine. Yep, those leaves are fine. And we've got the cutting celery, which was probably not a great idea to put in here. And we've got that big parsley. What else have we got? We've got lamb's lettuce, which would be fine even outside, so that's okay. Although that one doesn't look too good. Perk up, perk up. Oh, what does look good though is this pak choi. Oh, don't you look pretty? Oh, and another one next to you. And a purple one here. The purple ones don't seem to grow as well as the green, and they get a bit more nibbled. So they're fine. Then in the mini greenhouse, now I had a look in here yesterday, and likewise things were looking a bit sad. So some of these looked really poorly yesterday. These are snapdragons. They have bounced back wonderfully. Over here we've still got some little foxgloves. I think those are coriander at the end there. All these empty spaces were delphiniums and they all died, which is unfortunate. Above we have the sweet peas. I have seen some people's sweet peas on Instagram and they are lovely little leafy stocky plants like this. This is what I've got. Oh, can you see? A leggy little thing. And very poor germination. Having said that, ooh, sorry, this is poor camera work. Focus. There we go. Oh dear. Come on, focus. Some are coming up still. This one I chopped the top off because it was getting really leggy. There's a nice leggy one. Oh gosh, really doesn't want to focus in here. Anyway, yeah, unimpressive. Broad beans, nothing as yet, but it is early days and it's been very cold. This is pretty much the day they were sown. What else have we got in here? Oh, we've got my cuttings. So we've got like verbenas and salvias under here, and they seem to be alive, so that's pretty good. These do not. You remember all the begonias that I put in these trays and very confidently told you that they overwinter? Well, they totally do, because I've done it in the past, but apparently not this year. Maybe the trays weren't such a good idea. Anyway, maybe something will come back. Agapanthus looks a bit sad for itself, but alive. Everything else pretty much alive. So not bad. Onions. These are the onion sets that are in the little modules. And look, they are peeking through. I've got this on because naughty little mice came and they stole one of the red ones. Red ones, no action on those. And looking a bit mouldy on the skins. So I don't know, any advice on those? Much appreciated. But yeah, there's roots on all of them though. I've had a little look, and they've definitely made roots. Those are all the little cuttings that I did, and this lot, and they're holding on. They're holding on. Those are the ones that I took out the beds to overwinter. Also mostly holding on. So yeah, not bad, not bad. Let's go outside. What's going on out here? Oh, I haven't put my mic on, sorry. Clematis, not clematis, camellia, I did cover during the cold weather, and that looks fine. Carnations I also covered because I haven't grown those before. More hellebores down here that are, what are you doing, dog? Pawing at my legs. Yes, hellebores. And I mean, everything's just dormant or a bit wilted. I mean, look at the Tortondine kale. Poor little thing. And its sad little leaves all looking wilted. But you know what? It's just putting on a show. It'll be absolutely fine. No worries. The Cavolo Nero are doing it too. Oh, woe be me. I got cold. But actually, I'll be fine. Fine, fine, fine. Garlic coming up. I showed you last week. Can't show you the garlic every week, but it's in there. And yeah, there we go. Messy garden. Hey, Dory. Messy garden. So the other thing that's happened is the onions that are part of the compost trial. They've been in the living room while it's been super cold, even though they were at the sort of height where they needed to be out in the greenhouse. So I didn't put them out there while it was like -7.5. And but today things have warmed up, so I brought them out into the lean-to before they go into the greenhouse tomorrow, just to sort of stagger their acclimatization to the colder weather. And it's actually still quite cold in the lean-to, but I put them on top of the fridge. So they're just taking advantage of the heat on top of the fridge for this evening, and then tomorrow when the temperatures have gone up a little bit more, they can go into the greenhouse. And then at some point I'll have to decide whether I'm pricking them out or what I'm doing with them. Right, forgive the messiness in here. Did I already say that? Yeah, it's super messy. My Christmas tree is still in here. There's the Christmas tree. That's also acclimatizing to the cold before it goes in the ground. My lime looks a bit sorry for itself. And who's knocked this out? Some little creature been in here. This feels quite dry. The lemon's fine. A bit curly leafed, but still nice green growth up there. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And yeah, I probably should take the fruits off, shouldn't I? Because they're taking energy from the plant. I've only got two. There's one. Where's the other one? Never can see the other one. Oh, there it is. It was right in front of my face. Because they never did turn yellow. Yeah, might have to do a bit of research on citrus next year. But the thing that we're in here for, well, I feel really bad about this, is dahlia tubers. Underneath the bench here are the dahlia tubers that I dug up and then just left all in there. So what I really need to do is sort of, it feels firm, but I mean, they would have got really cold in here last night. That one is no good. So I'm gonna go through these, and if they're worth storing, then that's what I'm gonna do. A little bit late. Right. Most of these, I don't know what they are. I think there are 2 with labels. This one has had a slug crawling all over it because it's got a slimy trail. Let's have a feel. You see, they're firm. They're good. Right, I've got a brush to just get some of the soil off. But these are dry, you know, they're not, this isn't wet mud, so I'm not too fussed. Get some of the chunks out. But, so we try and pull off a bit of mud and half a tuber comes off, so be a bit careful. Which is not something that I'm really known for. Okay, now the other thing I'm checking for is signs of gall. And I did have a tuber with gall last year. So it's around, you know, it might be in my garden. Gosh, these feel cold. But they're not frozen. I mean, that's not why they're hard. They're hard because they're healthy tubers, I think, rather than frozen tubers. Anyway, that one's fine. So that can be wrapped up and put in the box. Let's have a look. Oh, this one's got a label. Night Queen. Ah, this is a Night Queen. Okay, well, Night Queen, you look all right. Now, they have got some little shoots coming off of them already, which you don't really want. Nevertheless, it is what it is. Why have I neglected my dahlias, you might ask, when there are, oh, keep that one with the label, when they are so expensive and so beautiful. And why are there so few? Well, mostly because these are the only ones I lifted. Oh, I thought we might have a gall issue then, but no, it looks okay. Yes, these are the only ones I've lifted. So a lot I've left in the ground, and you can do that and you can mulch them and they should be okay. I left some in the ground on the front garden last year, and they were brilliant. In fact, they were pretty much the best dahlias that I had, and I did not mulch them. They just survived. The ones that I've left in the garden this year, I mulched the cafe au lait, I think. Most of the others, because they didn't, well, they came up, got mullered by slugs, and I got nothing from them, and they just sort of disappeared. So I don't really know where they are. So I haven't mulched them, and they're just going to have to fend for themselves. Like so much in my garden, just has to fend for itself. But these are the ones I lifted because, why did I lift them? Oh, because I wanted to put other things where they were. So space is always an issue, isn't it? So that's why these ones got lifted. And so obviously, you know, I think I've been a bit laissez-faire with my dahlias this year because I was just so disappointed with them last year. I spent quite a bit of money at Farmer Gracie and in the garden centres buying dahlia bulbs. And I don't think it's a fault of the suppliers. It was just slugs. We had that cool, wet spring, and the slugs just, they got them good, and they didn't recover. And I guess I just, yeah, have felt a little bit over the dahlias. But here I go again. Better late than never. That is a lovely tuber. Who knows what it is? I hope you're a nice one. Be a cafe au lait. I did, yeah, I lifted, did I lift 2 cafe au laits and leave 1 in the bed? I think I might have put that on a previous video. But yeah, I have no idea which are which now. This one's a weird one. Look how thin those tubers are. And they don't feel great. But it has got some shoots on, so there must be something alive in there. I think what I'll do with that one is store it separately. So just in case it does mould, it won't infect the other ones. This isn't going so bad so far. Oh, famous last words. That is a soft tuber. That will not do anything. That needs to come off. she says, just ripping it off. No, I should probably use a knife, shouldn't I? That bit, oh, that one bit's just come off anyway. But there are firm tubers on there as well. Look at this tiny thing. Now, you would think that would not do anything at all. I mean, there's barely anything there, but you never know. So what you're looking for is a tuber and an eye. I can't see an eye on that one, but there's a tuber, and yeah, I don't know, they can surprise you sometimes. It'd be worth just sticking in the ground in the spring. Now there's a tuber, and that doesn't look like there's any kind of eye, but it's a firm tuber. The other thing you can do at this point is divide them. So that one over there, which was a nice size one, you could divide. But at this time of year, it's very hard to see. Oh, little woodlouse in there. No, I don't want to store you. It's hard to see where the eyes are, so where to divide. Whereas if you divide them in the spring, you can see where the eyes are, so you know you've got a tuber and an eye. Right, that one's the one that was no good. And yeah, just some little bits and pieces that, you know, as long as they're, that's not firm, but those are firm. Just drop them all over the floor. Got my knife now. Be careful with this knife. It is incredibly sharp. Right, where did I get to then? So that one is going to be on its own. Okay. Right, I've got my knife. So this is squidgy, and I don't want that. So very carefully, because this knife is incredibly sharp. Really, I shouldn't be allowed to use this. Right, there we go. Okay. Oh, the little worm. Go find the woodlouse. Right, any of those. Oh, that one. That one actually released moisture. Okay, take that one off. They are a bit fiddly. Oh no. Took off a good one. Might have an eye on. There we go. Okay, I think I've got these as good as they're going to get, and they can go into storage now. I mean, it's not going to be that long before they're out again and being potted up for this season. I'm that late putting these away, but nevertheless we got there in the end, and actually I think there's some pretty viable tubers here. I am hoping that the ones that I have left in the garden, some mulched, some not, will surprise me and do quite well. And here's hoping we don't have quite such a wet spring, and the slugs will give them time to actually establish this year. But yeah, as I say, I'm a little bit over the dahlias because of the disappointment last year. Come on, bring it back this year, little dahlias, bring it back this year. quite sure where this week went. It's the first week of term, so teaching has started up again this week, so it has been rather busy. It's now Wednesday, it's the end of the work day. I've just prepped all my classes for tomorrow, and I thought I would pop on and well, just update really, because I've started this week's video talking about Storm Isha. And we've had, because one storm a week is not enough at the moment, is it? So we've had a second storm come through, which was Jocelyn. That was last night, and although the wind speeds were apparently lower for Jocelyn for where we were, gosh, it was loud last night, and I was quite worried. There's been a teensy bit of damage, so the fence between me and my neighbour that I thought was is still a bit. So yeah, not quite sure what's going to happen about that. The small tunnel that I've got at the back of the garden that was meant to be protecting the beetroot and chard, not that much has become of that beetroot and chard, that's been a bit mangled, but I think we'll be fine. Just needs sort of putting back together a little bit. And then when I walked the dog this morning, I just dropped by the plot and everything was fine there. My arch looked slightly leaning, but fine. Some people didn't get off quite so lightly, so there was some broken glass in a greenhouse a bit further down, and this poor guy who's got the polytunnel that's like at the back of my mum's garden, that's already been destroyed once, and he's put a new cover on it and it's gone again. So it's quite sad, and yeah, I really do feel for people who keep losing things in the storm and then perhaps repair or replace them, and then another storm comes along, or the flooding or whatever it might be, and causes damage all over again. It does sort of make me feel better about the fact that I haven't put my greenhouse up. Maybe wait until all of this bad weather settles down a bit in the spring, and then think about putting the greenhouse up. Things have continued to be a bit warmer as well, so the low was 5.3 in the greenhouse last night, and I have brought the onion seedlings out now. They're looking okay. I think they sulked slightly when they first came out here, but now they're fine. Now obviously there are too many onions in these cells, so they do need pricking out or taking out in little clumps to kind of be multi-planted. But I didn't want to do that right away because they've already got the shock of coming out into the colder weather, so I thought they could acclimatise to being a bit cooler, and then we'll do the pricking out perhaps at the weekend. So that's fine. And actually a few more of those sweet peas have started to come up, which is nice. Okay, they get there in the end, I guess. And there's one other thing that I want to show you that's not really in here, but I'll bring it in here. One sec. Whoops. Check this out. Isn't that pretty? Do you know what it is? It's a flower press. So went to Malvern at the weekend to visit Liam's dad, and we didn't get to see them at Christmas because everybody was ill, including us. So we had a little second Christmas this weekend and exchanged gifts, and Liam's dad is a carpenter. And he's made me some gorgeous things in the past, and for this year, for this Christmas, he made me a flower press. And Liam was very thoughtful as well. He suggested it to him, and I'd been looking for one. I have one, or had one, that I've had since I was a kid, and I really wanted to press some flowers this year because I had so many gorgeous flowers, and what I wanted to do was press them and then decorate pumpkins with them. You might have seen something like this on Instagram, but I couldn't do it because I couldn't find my old flower press. But now I have a brand new one, and it's really big, so next year we can look forward to doing a crafty video where we press some flowers and then paste them onto pumpkins. Look forward to that. But yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm so pleased. So the very last thing to do for this week is, of course, check on the chilies. So we're going to nip inside and look at the chilies, and then that will be it for this week, Dory. That's how she feels about that. I think somebody wants a dinner, and a walkies. Want to walkies and go see Grandma. Okay. Come on then, let's go see the chilies. These are my grow lights, very cheap grow lights just off Amazon, but they seem to be doing the trick. Things don't seem too leggy. Ooh. Hello.
So actually, this isn't bad. So the lemon drop chili was the one I was really excited about, and we have 4 seedlings. I planted 4 of each, so we've got all 4 of the lemon drop. The Cayenna, we've got 2, not bad. Hungarian hot wax, all 4. This one is just getting its leaves coming out, and actually, oh, it's on this side. So this side we've got the Portugal, 4 of those, and can you just see the first of the true leaves are coming as well. There's only 1 early jalapeno. There were 3, but 2 of them couldn't manage to shook off the seed casing, so they perished. No habanero orange so far, and then just 1 ring of fire, which was the one I just made the little noise about, because that one has only just popped up. So my setup seems to be working well. It's a bit wet under here because I watered these, I bottom watered them earlier today. Here's my temperature strip, and you can see, oh, it's only about 19 at the moment in here, but it does get up to about 23, 24 when the lid is on and the sun is on it, but it goes down a little bit more in the evenings. That's okay, I think, now that the chilies have germinated. I think that's just keeping them nice and warm. When I add, I'm going to do sweet peppers, I think, next week, and then I might put the heat mat back inside to get the temperature up to about 27, 28 degrees. But yeah, I think these are doing better than they were last year, and I am quite liking the idea of staggering the sowings rather than doing chilies, peppers, tomatoes, aubergines all together all at once and having to manage all of them. So I'm quite enjoying the fact that I only have to worry about chilies for the time being, and now they are proper little plants. I can go on to the next one. They will need pricking out soon, so now those true leaves are coming. Yeah, I can start potting them on. Exciting. So thank you for joining us this week. We shall see you next week. Take care. Sweet peppers, potatoes.